Volatilities of put spreads and call spreads.
Yes.
Oof.
What do you think?
Near zero, depending on how tight they are.
That is true. From a P&L standpoint.
Oh. Measured by risk that you're taking?
Swings in P&L.
3 times your gain.
No, I mean, like, which side do you think is more volatile from a P&L standpoint?
Oh.
On SPY.
Probably call spreads, just because we've gone higher.
Selling for cheaper. And
is trade cheaper because of put skew?
Put skew means that your spread is going to be a meteor spread, all else being equal.
Yeah.
So, and the volatility is typically to the downside. So when something happens, those spreads don't move
they're going to be close. The call spread's going to be closer to at the money than
yeah, that too.
I think is really what it comes down to.
So, due to rising uncertainties, market uncertainties, many traders might opt for the risk-defined strategies such as an iron condor, put or call spreads. These strategies offer clear understanding of their potential losses. So typically, we look to sell somewhere around the 30 delta, 20 to 30-ish delta is where our shorts are typically placed. Your spread width can depend on what your risk tolerance is, how much capital you have. If you do a $1 wide spread and you're selling the 30 delta option, you're typically going to get about 1/3 the width of strikes. For $1, for a $5, for a $10, it's all kind of the same across the board here. If you're using around that 30 delta, and when we're talking about 1/3 the width of strikes, it's relative to the stock or ETF price. So if you're looking at SPY that trades at $600 and some odd dollars, going $10 wide from the 30 delta, you're always going to collect around $3. It's going to be 1/3 the width of strikes. If you go to like a SoFi, where we were talking about earlier this morning, and you go $10 wide, those options, those 10-point options, relative to what SPY would be, SPY price would be 100 points wide. So like you have to take the width relative to the stock price. A $1 wide spread in SoFi is going to trade for probably 1/3 the width of strikes. It's going to be the same thing as like a $10 wide in SPY relative to the actual stock price. So here you can see just like relatively what you'll collect on each one of those spreads. If you're selling around a 30 delta for each of those options. So unlike naked puts, which are more expensive due to the put skew and indices, call spreads actually collect about 50% more premium than put spreads. So typically when you're trading on the put side, you're going to have when you're talking about the width of the spread, your put spread is going to be cheaper because the long option is going to be a higher delta. So when you're looking at these spreads, your long option on the call side, if you're going to the 30 delta for the put and the call, the short options, you're going $10 for the width, your $10 option on the call side might be a 15 delta, whereas on the put side, it's going to be a 25 delta, 27 delta, something like that. So the spreads trade a little bit cheaper. And here's just a breakdown of what your spreads will trade at relative to the width of the spread. It's still going to be somewhere around, 1/3 the width of the strikes. It's also going to depend on the duration, right? If you're 40 to 50 days out in time, it's going to be much closer to 1/3, if not a little bit more than 1/3. Whereas if you're 30 days to go till expiration, it might be close to like 25% of the width. It's all relative to time as well, and volatility changes.
Well said.
So how do the volatility in both spreads perform differently? The two questions we're going to answer is, since volatility tends to increase when the market goes down, does that mean that the volatility is higher in the put spread? Does the tight spread have better volatility control? Does this imply that a $1 wide spread has a lower volatility than a $5 or $10 wide spread? What do you think of either of these questions?
The tighter the spread, the less of any of this you're going to get.
Correct.
So that's how you mitigate risk and just make it a directional bias trade. Now, this could be neutral, it could be bullish, it could be bearish if you do both sides, one a little bit closer, one a little bit further away. But the tighter the spread, and it's going to be minimal also, even though you go wider in a $10 wide.
For something like SPY, the 1, 5, and 10 are not that much different.
Right.
I mean, you don't have much exposure to any of the Greeks. We've used the phrase that they're like kind of binary trades in that, you do have some theta decay, you do have some short volatility, but for the most part, you're playing for a range bound trade. The binary aspect of the trade is that the options are out of the money relative to the stock over the next 20 some odd days. That's really what you are trading. Your exposure to volatility and time and all the other things that we kind of talk about are going to be much lesser. Now, to use the example of like a SoFi, if you're doing a $10 wide spread in SoFi, you're synthetically naked.
You are.
You're selling the put that is a 30 or 40 delta, and you're buying a put that might be a 2 delta if you're going $10 wide, maybe even less. It might be a penny option, basically. So it's all relative to the stock price. And so the comparison we're going to make here is we use the same buying power for different wing sizes. So we sold 30 delta naked SPY put and call, and then bought $1, $5, and $10 wide wings. So we're selling the 30 delta options. We're going $1, $5, and $10 wide. And then we're going to do our standard 45 days, and then we're going to manage at 21 days.
Classic mechanics here is what you're really looking at.
Yeah. And so when you look at these options, and I know we're going to be talking about the volatility in the call spread versus the put spread, and this is very, very small, but the data is going to show us. So contrary to our assumptions, the call spread actually has a higher volatility in all three of these scenarios. And this shouldn't be a shock to you because the long option that you're buying on the call spread, whether it's $1, $5, or $10 wide, is going to be a lesser delta than the volatility in your long option. The short options are going to be the same. But when you're going equal width, you're not playing into skew. So if you wanted to make a real delta neutral trade, you'd have to go to the same delta for the long options. That's what you're seeing here, which is we call that a dynamic iron condor, because you'll have different widths on either side, and that's because that plays into skew. When you go equal width in something like a SPY or the Qs, you're actually going to be short delta, even though you have the same risk on either side. And that's because the drop off on the call side is much steeper than the put side. The skew is on the put side. Something like a gold or silver, you see that flipped. So here, narrow spreads have the greatest volatility just from a P&L standpoint, and the wider spreads, the lower the volatility here. And that's just because the spreads are they're not as binary as your $1 wide options. When you're managing positions across the board, you are changing your P&L volatility, your return on capital volatility, and this is just relative to the position itself. You're tightening that up significantly. This is across the board on basically any study that we've ever done, is that managing winning trades, managing at 21, it's all a function of reducing, or it's all done for the purpose of reducing the P&L volatility across the board. Whether you're trading $1, $5, $10 wide spreads, you reduce the overall P&L volatility in all circumstances. And that's really why we're managing these trades.
That is correct.
Couple takeaways for you. The premium for the call spread is approximately 50% higher than the put spread. This is because you're getting a little bit of short delta on these trades overall. Spreads with narrow wings may reduce the risk per unit, but the return on capital volatility is actually higher. And that's because you net out to full losers on your losing trades. When you have a $1 wide spread, there's no variable there. When you have a $10 wide spread, you have a $3 buffer to where you might have a scratch trade. With a $1 wide spread, it's pretty much max profit, max loss. That's it. It's binary outcomes.
100%.
Managing it to 21 days can reduce your P&L volatility.
Little rally in the NASDAQ.
Yeah, I took off half the NASDAQ. 50,
Very nice.
50 points.
Very nice.
Managing at 21 days can reduce P&L volatility by about 50%. It's a positive for you. It reduces both the upside P&L and the downside P&L by 50%. It makes it more consistent. And when you do this for a long time, you want stair step. You want this stair step, stair step, stair. You don't want big wide, big up, go to zero. Big up, go to zero. That doesn't work.
No. And
you want
it's
small,
not good for your psyche either.
That too.